you know, championship weekend. Championship weekend for the NFL is probably my favorite weekend. Maybe divisional. I don't know. It just depends on the games. But last week's games were all incredible. They all came down to last minute scoring. There were some comebacks, and I mean the Chiefs Bills game was incredible. It was crazy game. The comeback that almost was with Tom Brady and the Bucks coming back and almost beating the Rams, but the Rams figuring out in the final seconds. Last weekend's games, I mean, they were great. And I really think this weekend's games have the ability to be actually just as great. So I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, I'm a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan, so obviously I am just stoked for Sunday's game at noon. It's noon my time, 3 o'clock Eastern. So the Bengals versus the Chiefs. Now, these teams played about a month ago, week 17. Apparently, all the sports commentators, all the people that know about football, they all forgot that the Bengals beat the Chiefs a month ago. Now, there were some things that you're not expected to see. Number one, some of the referee calls are not going to get called during the playoffs. They'll get called in the regular season. You'll kind of let things slide a little bit more in the playoffs. So there are some things that kind of helped Cincinnati kind of stay a little bit closer in the game that probably won't get called. Also, though, in that game, the Chiefs didn't show up. Their offense really didn't show up at all in the second half, and the Bengals defense didn't really show up at all in the first half. So there is some room here to kind of wiggle around and be like, okay, this game could be different. Also, that game was in Cincinnati in front of a crazy crowd. The Chiefs' home stadium, Arrowhead Stadium, I believe, holds the world record for loudest stadium. And if not the world record, it might be like a North American record for the loudest stadium in the, they own a record for loudest stadium. So it's obviously a huge deal. So this game is really, really exciting because these are two really good offenses. And when they played each other last time, like I said, the Chiefs didn't show up in the second half. Their offense didn't show up in the second half. But in the first half, I mean, they scored 28 points. I mean, that's a lot of points for a whole game. And they scored it in the first half. The Bengals came back and won, but they scored 17 points in the first half, 17 points in the second half. They were pretty consistent. Their offense was anyway. So this is really kind of interesting. Neither one of these teams has a great defense. They're both solid. In fact, you can see the numbers here. If NFL will actually load them up, you'll be able to see the breakdown here. The Chiefs have a better offense, ranked third, but the Bengals have a slightly better defense. So they're both really, really strong pass attacks. The Chiefs have a better rushing as far as the numbers go, but Joe Mixon on the Bengals as a running back is one of the top 3 running backs in the league. So that changes things up a bit. So this is gonna be it's really hard for me to choose on this. I've gone back and forth. I'm gonna take the Bengals just because obviously I'm choosing my heart on this one. But I can see it going just like every single way. I could see this being a very close game and it looking very much like the other game, tight score within one score, 34-31, somewhere around 38-35, some kind of score like that I could see happening. However, I could also see the Chiefs just blowing the Bengals out and this being like, 45-17. But I could also see this being a blowout for the Bengals. I could see the Bengals 45-21 or something like that. So it's hard for me to take. So I'm going to take the Bengals just because, I'm not going to be down on my Bengals. I'm not going to, they've gone farther in this season than I expected already. So I'm going to keep riding with them. They've been doing great. The only game they've lost in the last 2 months is a game where they sat most of their starters and pulled the rest of their starters about halfway through the game. So I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to ride with them on this. I think it's still going to be a close game. I think it's going to be won by the people you least suspect. I think Joe Mixon and CJ Uzomah are going to be the game breakers. I think you're going to see Joe Mixon get at least 70 yards rushing. I think you're going to see CJ Uzomah get roughly around the same amount receiving, and I think they'll both each have at least one touchdown apiece. So I think you're going to see the main people in this game are going to be different than last game, where it was just the Jamar Chase show, where he had, was it 3 touchdowns and 260 yards receiving, so something crazy like that. I'm thinking it's going to be people that you least suspect win this game, and I'm going to take the Bengals here. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say bet the over. So I believe the over under on this is 52 points, something like that. I would bet the over because I really think this is going to be somewhere, 38-35, 38-31. And I'm kind of lowballing it on that one. It wouldn't surprise me to see this game be like 48 to 42, somewhere around there. So that's what I'm thinking for this game. I'm going to take the Bengals, and that's what I'm thinking that game goes, and get my Bengals back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully they can come back. Hopefully they can do what they couldn't do in their last 2 Super Bowls, which is beat the 49ers, who I am taking to win the NFC Championship game. The Bengals played the 49ers. The Bengals have been in the Super Bowl twice, and they played the 49ers both times. Both times got beat by Joe Montana. The last time was in Super Bowl 23. I think that's the only time I've ever cried because of a football game. I was 5 years old, so it's not that big a deal. Fuck you. But I'm going to take the 49ers to win this game against the Rams. I can't count them out. Their defense has just been too good. So they've been able to get after the quarterback. They basically shut down Aaron Rodgers after that first drive last week. And you can't shut down the MVP of the league and then be brushed off the next week. I really think they just find a way to win. That's part of the reason I'm taking the Bengals too. The Bengals have just been finding ways to win over the last few weeks. So I'm going to take the 49ers. I've got to say, this is more about me kind of wanting this to happen because I want this Bengals team to exercise that demon, to break that curse that Joe Montana set on us in Super Bowls, how we can't win a Super Bowl. So I kind of want the Niners to be the one the Bengals win their first Super Bowl to, just to kind of cap off this season. And that's who I'm hoping. That's who I'm thinking is going to win. I actually think the Bengals and the Niners are going to win these games. And like I said, I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I would bet the under on this game. I haven't seen what the under is for the betting, but whatever it is, I mean, you can see here, the last time they played was again about three weeks ago, and the Niners won by 3 points. We're talking that's 61 points. Yeah, I would, if that's the over-under is 60 or that, I would probably take the under on that. So either way, I think this is going to be 2 really good games. And I'm hoping, like I said, to see the Bengals versus Niners. I will take the Bengals versus the Rams. I will even take, if my Bengals can't go, I would like to see the Rams and the Chiefs play, because I think those are 2 really good offenses, and I'd like to see them just, go up and down the field against each other. I do not want to see the Niners and the Chiefs. Saw that a couple years ago. I'm cool. I don't need to see it again.